So we're going to be estimating square roots of fractions that aren't perfect squares, which is somewhat of a difficult concept, but we're going to try it. So the first thing you should do is simplify the fraction. Okay, so sometimes you may think that it's not a perfect square root, but it could end up being that. So we could divide this by 15. So this ends up being the square root of 1 over 4, which actually is a perfect square. It's 1/2. So if we were to try the square root of 5/6, you can't simplify that. But our second step here says to split the top and the bottom. So we're going to put the square root of 5 over the square root of 6. Then we're going to estimate the square root of the top and bottom using our benchmarks. So I know the square root of 5 is going to be between the square root of 4 and the square root of 9, which is 2 or 3. So we're going to say that this is approximately 2.2. Square root of 6 would be a little bit more, so approximately 2.4. So what you can do is, if you were to multiply both sides by 10, you could move the decimal point. So this actually ends up being 22 over 24, which is like 11/12. So that's a very rough estimation, but it's one method you can use to do that. If we were to estimate square roots of decimals, the first step could be find the closest exact square root on either side of this decimal. So using benchmarks, like we've done with whole numbers before, this time with decimals. So if you had 0.13, so a close square root that would give you an exact answer would be 0.16. So that's 0.4. Okay. If it was 0.3, it would be the square root of 0.09 on this side. So this is somewhere in between, closer to 0.16. So we could say approximately 0.37. Could be a close value. For the square root of 1.38, you can do the square root of 1.44. That'll be the closest because 144. Easy to do. This is 1.2. Be the square root of 1.44. So the square root of 1.38 will be just under that. So maybe 1.17, something like that. It just needs to be close to the proper value because it is an estimation. Another way of doing it is you could convert these decimals to fractions and then use the fraction method to try to simplify it. So here's another one. Estimate the square root of 0.84. So 0.84 is 84 over 100. So this is using the method of fractions. That's close to 81 over 100, which is 9/10 or 0.9. It's going to be a little bit more than 0.9, so you could estimate it at 0.92 as the square root. If you were to check this, it gets very close to 0.84. So that is estimating square roots.